is you open the Dashboard Manager, and to do that, if you have the quickest menu up, just press a D. It'll go to Dashboard Manager and then press Enter. Or you can go to the Menus function and select a Dashboard menu there, the different module areas. The Summary button drills down into the current month's activities. So basically, how much regular hours have been worked, overtime hours worked, expense for labor, material expense, and equipment hours and miles operated, as well as dollars expense. The fiscal year then looks at the current fiscal year and goes out and drills all that data together into quarterly looks at the current fiscal year. And Calc Totals blows the totals on across so you can see those same numbers but broken out by quarter through the fiscal year. The Graph It button then would graph that data out so you can take a picture of it or print it or whatever. The next button will close these menus down. Next button is Budget. The first one really looked into the cost accounting data, the activity that's going on, work on the roads and etc. And the Budget button looks at the financial or spending end of the operation. You click the Calc Variance Analysis, then it shows you the budgeted spending each month through the current fiscal year as compared to the actual spending to that budget each month during the fiscal year, and shows you the variance each month, as well as calculates the total fiscal year spending excuse me, against the total budget and then the monthly or the variance for the year. You also can graph that data. You also can drill down. This is all the funds put together, this particular look. But to look at a particular fund account number, you can just enter whatever it is. And once you double click on that number, which is your fund account number, it will show you the spending in each month as compared to the budget, as well as the total fiscal year for that budget. We'll look now at the general fund, which is 999.00, and just click on it. You'll see essentially the same spending when it rolled it all together on the first screen. But then this looks at general fund. It's the one that most of the spending is done in. You also can graph it. So we looked at the cost accounting, the actual work being done. The budget is the actual spending that you're doing against as compared to your budget. Then we'll look drill down to individual projects. We'll take a look here at the brush control. The 10 would be for fiscal year 2010. This describes the project. You can put the budget in there for the project, and it'll calculate spending actual current year to the estimated budget you have. The detailed cost analysis is all of the records that were charged against that particular project. To analyze that, click on the green check mark, then the Calc Variances, and then it takes your actual spending against the budget if you had entered a budget for this project, and then shows you variances on it. You also can graph out those data. So we've looked at this point to your cost accounting or work being done, your financial operations as far as budget and spending, and then drill down to individual projects. The labor button brings up your employee table with all of its data on each employee. The inventory button drills down to your inventory. Let's take a look at signs, say a speed limit sign 25 miles per hour. We'll double click to open that record. The inventory number, of course, can be anything meaningful to you. This is a description. It's a 25 by 30 high visibility sign. And there's been, well, the beginning inventory was 7 units at $352. Historic receipts are 6 units at $231. Issues are 4 at $87. and on hand then of that. This is called a perpetual inventory. It manages itself from your data entry. You also can drill on down through a specific sign to see where it was used, as well as who installed it, when they installed it, if they used the equipment, and that sort of thing. So you can get full looped information on any particular item that has been used and runs through your inventory system. The equipment button drills down into your equipment. We'll take a look here at equipment 100. This is the profile information on that piece of equipment, preventive maintenance parameters and feedback on that. PM info, specific information on preventive maintenance, as well as a general running memo on the piece of equipment. This is the maintenance history. This is the costs that have been accumulated on this piece of equipment in this current fiscal year. Looks like $180 labor, $16.40 for fuel and parts, and $14.11 for outside repairs. You also then can graph that data so you can get a pictorial view of the spending on it. If you have a piece of or picture of your equipment, you can put a picture of the equipment in there. So we've covered kind of the gamut between your cost accounting or work being done, the financial accounting, any specific projects, any employees, particular inventory, and particular pieces of equipment. The workforce planning module lets you do basically macro things across all of your data, or macro lookups. The surface miles, which you fill out in another table, gives you the type of surface covering in each district or precinct within your city or county or commissioner area, or however you break out your responsibility areas. The macro ops is also the summary here. To graph the hours worked in whatever fiscal year you enter there, just enter it, press the hours worked button. It shows you the overtime hours worked in red and the regular hours worked in blue. This is your numerics for the blue, and this is your numerics for the red or overtime hours. The work and weather is a way of keeping track of service requests and complaints as they come in, and also as they're solved. We'll take a look here at 2010 data, fiscal year 2010, and we'll calculate that. And we've only got like a couple of months of it in there. We'll look then at the asphalt service complaints and service requests, and drainage service complaints and service requests, and then we'll calculate those. And once calculated, then the monthly tab shows you the data as accumulated on a monthly basis. To drill down into this data set, we'll right click and zoom in a couple of times here to get blow it up a little larger. Now what this graph shows you is the red is your temperature, average temperature for that month. The yellow is the number of service or asphalt service requested, asphalt work done on asphalt repairs, and the green is the number resolved of the complaints or service requests. The yellow is the drainage type, ditching and that sort of cleanouts requested versus the number resolved, and then they carry on over to the following month through the fiscal year. So you can get a graphic pictorial of what's going on as far as complaints and service requests and solving them. The work task graph is a graphical picture of the type of work being done and also in what district. You can turn this graph over, or right click, and then graph type and bar if you want to take a look at it that way. All of these can either be taken a picture of and inserted in a Word document with a alt print screen, and then paste it into a Word or a Windows Aware document, or you can print it out or incorporate it in other data. So that's kind of a quick follow-up on your service requests and complaints modules. The roads button then drills back down into your roads data table. We'll take a look here at Anderson Road. This is the particulars on Anderson, and more particulars, culverts, signs. We'll take a look at this particular sign on Anderson Road. Double click on it. This is information on that sign. It's an R2-3 nomenclature, which is a 45 mile per hour night speed limit. We'll drill down through Google, do a lookup, and we'll see the sign at this point. You can drill on down, do measurements, or do lat long calcs and that sort of thing. Let's see here, we've pretty much covered that data that rolls in there. PM is your pavement management module, which lets you look at any particular road, pull up the pavement management for that, and then do a view if you have a picture of that particular segment of the road. At the time this was made in 2001. And PQI is the Pavement Quality Index overall quality rating on like a 5-point scale. So it's in need of some repair. The complaints module, service request module, lists all of your outstanding complaints or service requests that haven't been solved. They have a red X. When they're solved, the red X goes away. Then they fall over into the all complaints module area. So basically, it gives you a quick lookup of any complaints that are open, just operating. The reason we built this dashboard analysis or executive info system is primarily for the managers of your departments and your directors, so that they can get pretty much, major kind of cross data answers to. Our manager has a tube, CRT tube plugged in your network. All he has to do is a couple of clicks and he can get pretty much answers of a lot of questions. So that covers the dashboard manager, or the executive info system we call it. The next week will be the